talk a lot of things about footy, but self-belief in young blokes, how powerful can that be?
Oh, look, it can be really powerful. I mean, confidence and self-belief are a couple of things that are pretty key ingredients in any successful club, and they're very important to us.
How are you going at the moment harnessing that, and is that fine line between, I suppose, getting ahead of yourself or letting young blokes maybe take a step or two too far ahead of themselves?
Look, we've been, probably should say, lucky that we know where we're coming from, so it's not something we're going to do is get ahead of ourselves in any hurry. We're going to be a side that respects the competition, and we've got absolutely total respect again for the West Coast Eagles this week, who are a potential top 4 side. We know that at the start of the season. We know the base that we're coming from, and every week we go out, we're actually challenged to make sure we try and step up to the plate, and that's what this week will be about.
How do you feel about the renewed expectation from the outside?
Expectation, I think it's something that we like to talk about. If we're expected to do certain things at certain times, and we shouldn't shy away from that. But we understand that there's people going to have an opinion. We've got ours, and we know the important part. I've said it plenty of times now. That the important part for us is how we go about it, and the expectation will take care of itself from there.
Was it a tough call dropping with Stevenson for a game against his former club?
Yeah, really tough. I mean, he's incredibly unlucky, but someone has to be. And we're in good form. We've got a healthy list. I think we've got 1, maybe 2 injuries from our whole squad of 44 unavailable this week. So it's always going to make it tough. Paul Stewart was always going to come back into the side, and because he deserves to come back into the side. So, just purely on numbers, it stacked up that we perhaps had one too many defenders in the side.
Win-loss ratio wise, you look at the Eagles and say, gee, they're not travelling too well, but in terms of a structure and a pure footy sense, how have you viewed them in the leader?
Yeah, we even got to look at last week. They could have quite easily probably won the game with the number of shots at goal that they had. So we're not certainly confused. We know the sides that they've played against. We know they've been the high quality side. So look, they're not that far away. They've had some injuries, but I'm sure they'll be coming here to get their season on track.
You talk about high quality sides. I mean, and I say this as respectfully as I can. The sides that you have played so far, take out Adelaide, have probably been expected to be in the bottom half dozen or so. I know I'm not taking anything away from you in saying that, but a big scalp, would that just be really the icing to prove and really say that you guys have arrived and made some ground?
Yeah, look, we don't probably look at it like that. We need to take a big scalp. As you said, we've played against the sides that were put in front of us, and we've done our absolute best to get the results that we rightly deserve. And yes, West Coast are another one of those sides. Adelaide were, as we said, they were a kick off the grand final. So far we've been able to step up to each of the challenges, and we hope we can do that again tomorrow.
Ken, after a month, where do you think your game's at, and where does it have to go from here?
Still plenty of improvement. I mean, I think defensively we're okay. Offensively, we've been able to score when we've had our times, but we've had games, even last week, the Crows game, where we've struggled to probably score at times, and we've let the opposition have a little bit too much of the ball. And last week, against the Gold Coast, we probably spent too much of the time in their half and not our half. So we've still got a lot of things to work on, but we know the challenges are there every week.
In the way in which, say, it petered out against Gold Coast, did you have to rethink how you prepared the players this week?
No, not so much, but we knew that we were coming off the 6-day break, and we knew, everyone talks about it all the time. We don't, look, I don't know how big a factor it is. Conditioning, people will tell you it's obviously an issue, but for us it's, we probably just relaxed a little, and the boys haven't done that so far this year, and I don't expect them to do it again on the weekend.
Where's the internal mechanisms to stop them, and let's say use that line of getting ahead of themselves?
Probably me. We're a club that doesn't deserve to be thinking of anything other than respect the competition, respect the game. Every team we come up against, we should give them 100% effort and make sure we perform at our absolute best, and we won't be a club that gets ahead of ourselves.
You're still liking that 2-ruck combination?
Yeah, look, we've had some debate about that. We've certainly, I'm not going to hide, we actually had to spend a lot of time on it this week about the, can we or can't we and should we. It's a lot to do with making sure the team balance is right, and we don't think we've probably got that now at the moment that we could even consider not having the 2 rucks. They've been really strong for us, and clearly against Cox, we understand that he's the quality ruckman of the competition. We need to give the boys some support.
Robbie Gray ready for a full game this week?
Yeah, look, we'll go through that. Look, probably not. Probably not, if we were absolutely 100% honest. So we've just got to make sure we make the decision based on what's the best way to get the game time into Robbie that we need.
How big a weapon has Jay Shill's been for you? Obviously hasn't got the highest profile in the AFL.
He's a high-class forward. No doubt when you give Jay opportunities, the best thing is he converts. He takes his opportunities. And last week, Jay had a quiet start to the game. We spoke about that at quarter time, and then he had the ability to step up and play some really strong footy for us in the second half, which was important.
Has his ability surprised you as I said, not the highest profile coming from Gold Coast?
No, not really. Jay was obviously clearly over the journey. He's been a pretty damaging forward. Last year with take the injuries out, the number of goals he was able to kick, he probably could have been right up there high on the goal kicking ladder.
Can you go back to Robbie Gray? What you're saying there is that is he now capable of starting, but you'd have to sub him out, or is he best to then keep as a sub?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Is which is the best way to manage him, and we're still to make that decision. We've got a pretty strong idea. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here today and tell you exactly what Robbie's going to do, but we've got a pretty strong idea on what we will do with Robbie. But we're mindful of the fact we've got to get him prepared to play, 4 quarters of footy.
Is there a vision in your mind as to when you can push him back into the midfield as has been hopeful for so long?
Look, I think he's ready to. He can go in the midfield now. It's just the amount of time he can spend there. Midfield's so hard as far as the amount of running up and back you've got to do. As I said, conditioning-wise, that will be Robbie's challenge. Is probably for most part of the year, I'd imagine. So bursts in the midfield is probably more what you'll expect to see than long times.
The game against West Coast in Alice Springs. What do you take from that going into this game? Because it wasn't that long ago, even though it was only a pre-season game.
Oh no, we did some things in that game that we were pleased with, and I'm sure the important part about that is West Coast probably will get as much out of that as we would, obviously, because they've seen us and we've competed the way we did against them, and it'll just make sure both sides are really on guard, I reckon, with what the potential ups and downs of each side are.
Kennedy was great early that game, has been great all so far this season. How do you go about shutting him down?
Well, clearly we put someone on him and we give them the opportunity to play on him, and then we get a lot of team support to try and help. But there's Kennedy, there's Accra, there's Darling, there's Hams. They're a high quality side. We know that, and it'll take our best team effort to beat them.
Given that given the flexibility in their forward line, you just say, does a guy like Tommy Jonas, does the responsibility on him step up a little bit this week, given that flexibility?
No, not unlike any other week. Tommy's played on Walker. We've put him on different players all through the year. He's just been able to handle most of those roles pretty well, and we'll expect he'll handle one this weekend for us.
Yeah. Thanks, Kenny.